Hello, this is Raf's podcast, episode 3, with your host, Rafa Godinez. Hello again, everybody. It's me. And it's just solo me this time, no guest. And this one's going to be a little late, like a week late. But you know what? Sometimes it happens. I'm a busy guy. What do you expect? But anyways, this podcast is going to be oriented around politics, most likely. Just politics. First thing I would like to talk about is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is doing some good shit. Well, he's doing one good thing. Joe Biden he's been fucking up. He's been fucking up left and right. He's repairing some of the wall, breaking a campaign promise doing that. And, there's various arguments for that, but it is breaking a campaign promise. Let's see, the stimulus shit, he fumbled that up. I mean, it happened. But there was the wonky shit with this other $600 and, but that's a whole nother thing. Let's talk about some good Joe Biden stuff. So he's trying to pull out of Afghanistan. Like, holy shit. If he did that, put him on, Mount Rushmore. Seriously. And the thing is, he actually, wants to get out. It's not like he's gonna do what Trump does, where he makes a date and then every single thing that he does militarily, strategically, he goes back on at, the very last second. That was Trump's motto all the way. That's what Democrats and Republicans have been guilty of for so long. But, Biden is legit. He's going out there speech after speech, talking about it. He keeps bringing it up, for one. And he's 100% right. This is the thing. He's 100% right. There's this great quote that he has that I love that he says. This is actually something that Joe Biden said. He said, quoting one of his speeches, "I'm not the fourth United States president to preside over American troop presence in Afghanistan. 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. Oh, I'm now the 4th, sorry. I will not pass the responsibility on to a 5th. I will not." That's just insane to me because, who would have thought that Joe Biden would actually do it? That's a history-making quote right there. I love that quote. And, it makes voting for him definitely worth it because, Afghanistan, that's the Afghanistan war. That's America's longest war. Been there for 20 years, ever since 9/11. We're supposed to get out on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, September 11th this year. And if he doesn't do it, then Joe Biden's shit. He's trash, and he should be thrown in the gutter. But I know that he's definitely gonna do it, unless he gets assassinated or something, which could happen. But yeah, it's super progressive. Plus, it's a campaign promise. Okay. Biden didn't enter the Iran nuclear deal, which progressive like me, yes, I'm still pissed off about. But this, even just sinking in 3-pointers, I know that he's gonna do it. But anyways. Again, with the Iran nuclear deal, though, since we're talking about, there are Iranians, American hostages, progressive Americans like myself, just begging the Biden administration to re-enter the Iran nuclear deal. But for some reason, he doesn't. That should be an obvious move, but he doesn't want to do it for whatever reason. Another thing that we could talk about is Derek Chauvin. That's been in the news a lot lately. Um, the right wingers have really melted down about this. Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson had an insane monologue that he did with Candace Owens, where him and her were basically saying, "Oh, hey, this is just a trial by mob, a trial from the beginning, just all of this nonsense." I mean, you can look up that fucking garbage if you want to and do that shit. But, oh, man. Look, okay. The thing with the Derek Chauvin stuff is a lot of people are like, they're like three people. There are people that are pissed that are Republicans. Then there are people that are like, oh, this is great. This is a fantastic thing that happened, And then there are other people that are like, well, okay, this is awesome, but what's next? Like, this isn't where this stops. This momentum, you basically get what I'm trying to say. It's just that this can't end here, I mean, we gotta do things better for our country. I mean, and I think definitely can get better and will get better. I mean, there are talks about Trump running again, and I'm just like, that's the last thing we need to talk about is anything to deal with Trump. Anybody that talks about Trump, me talking about Trump right now, helps him out. Anything that gets him in the spotlight again, anything that gets his name out there, people talking about it, making news sources money, anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, CNN will run these fucking stories where they talk about how bad his like hotels are doing and shit, and it's like, can we just stop talking about them? Can we just stop talking about them? Like, it's the best thing we can do. And he's running again. But all you gotta do is show ads. The Democrats, Joe Biden and Kamala, gotta show ads of him telling his supporters to fucking storm the Capitol, and then there you go, boom. Yeah. So I don't think I'm gonna do many political podcasts like this. I mean, I don't want to do it solely just for this reason, because it feels like it's just me just belly aching my opinions into a camera for the whole time. Which I like, don't get me wrong, it's just not something I would want to do all the time for entertainment's sake. I mean, one thing that I did see was Jim Jordan's pathetic speech. Jim Jordan, is he? Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Jim Jordan, did I strike a nerve? Okay, he's a congressman. He had a pathetic speech where he was going on about, the police, talking about the Derek Chauvin shit, another right winger, just, trying to use it for political gain when, just a couple months ago, back on January 6th, police were getting hit over the heads with fucking Trump flags and shit. And, anything they can do to just distract and pivot, and that's all they know. Complain about cancel culture and attack and pivot. That's all these people got. I mean, if you want to look it up, look up on CNN. Did I strike a nerve? Val Demings takes on Jim Jordan, and Val Demings did an amazing job. We need more of this in the House. in the House, in the Senate, and everything, man. She was fantastic. She was not put up with what Jim Jordan was selling. I mean, you'd have to look up the video yourself. I wouldn't be able to. But she just epically clowned him. And I love seeing shit like that. I love seeing shit like that, knowing that people that we voted in have strong opinions. They love what they're doing. And they can actually back up with what they're saying with real experience. I mean, Demings is a police officer for, what'd she say, 27 years? And then this guy, wants to tell her, like, oh, police officers, they were trying to vote on a bill that would give more funding to the police to, which I know is its own topic. It has its own points, but Jim Jordan, the Republicans, trying to vote against it, making arguments for it. And the bill's trying to give money to the police so they can investigate more, I forget what it was, certain type of crimes, like some domestic crimes. Here, let me see. Yeah, for domestic crimes. Okay. I mean, so that's great. More money for that. Yeah, that would be fantastic. But, I mean, I looked up this video on Vice earlier, how the residents in Minneapolis were reacting to the Derek Chauvin jury results. Guilty on all three trials, man, all three. On all three counts, sorry. Man, Republicans are so mad at that shit, I bet, man. Got him on all three, man. I mean, the whole argument, mob rule, it's so stupid. I mean, the jury was like hand selected and agreed on by the prosecution and the defense. And I mean, look at the video. I mean, it was clear. The Republicans will say, hey, this over there, the drugs over here, these people over here, this over there. It was a video camera, not a real camera. Like, they'll say anything, but the guy knelt on his neck for 9 minutes. Or 8 minutes, 42 seconds. Yeah. Yeah. So, Noam Chomsky did a podcast recently where he talked about force to vote. Force to vote, as many of you don't know, was a very interesting thing that happened recently. It's dead in the water to even. There's no point talking about it anymore. The time has come and passed. Nancy Pelosi, that's all dead. But basically, it was a thing that some, I guess, fringe, you could call it, progressives, a mission they went on to try and push Nancy Pelosi to do a Medicare for all vote in the House, and then they'd vote on that, then go to the Senate, then go to the president, and basically the point was, hey, there's a pandemic. I mean, this is the only time we're ever really going to get it. Let's actually fight for something that we actually need during this terrible crisis, humanitarian crisis, the coronavirus. But that failed, obviously. But Noam Chomsky is a very influential, smart person. So it's always interesting to hear from him. Definitely influential to most people that are into politics and philosophical lives. I haven't read anything by him or anything, but I know if I did, I'm sure I would agree with 100% of what it says. I mean, I know it's a stupid thing to say, but I just know that Noam Chomsky is real deal shit. Like, he's a smart guy to listen to. And interesting enough, he says that pushing Nancy Pelosi to do that basically would have been like planning for failure. and it probably wouldn't have been a good idea. And quote, he even says, let's do something to get defeated. Is that a good strategy? With a question mark. And essentially, I agree with him. Even though I, would consider myself a progressive, and there were a lot of progressives that agreed with me at first, and then after a while didn't, and Jimmy Dore, had to make everything ugly by doing what he does. But, I'd still consider him a comrade, at least a progressive comrade. I mean, these people, if they think differently than me, but, they're still, we can still agree on most things and vote and get things done together, form a coalition together. These people like Destiny, David Pakman, anybody, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, I guess, if he ever, is honest about his pro-worker rights shit, which, of course he always acts like he is, but, well, he is, but, whatever. Anyways, you get the point. But, yeah, this was a hot issue for a while there. I remember it, yeah. A lot of people that were into what I'm into were torn, not for sure which way to go on it. Back then I knew, it was not a good move to do it. I mean, if you push Nancy Pelosi to ask for Medicare for all, not enough Democrats would have voted for it. And yeah, there's the argument, well, we're never going to have enough votes, so we might as well try it. And it's like, no. I mean, what we can do is try and get stuff by, us going out and, trying to go out, trying to do things like that. And yeah, we could have done that this time around too, to force the vote, but there's no point. We weren't going to win. We weren't going to get enough votes, even if Nancy Pelosi did bring it forward. So that's why I would say I would agree with them. I mean, yes, I agree. Progressives should be more like the Tea Party. We should be more aggressive. We should every progressive man, woman in Congress right now should be aggressive. But, I mean, it's a strategy that would never work, and planning for failure is a terrible strategy. It's a terrible strategy for progressive victories. And we need progressive victories. But yeah, anyways, that was something interesting in the news lately that I discovered. Noam Chomsky, he's getting old, man. Oof, I saw him in that podcast. Oof, he's not going to be around much longer. Yeah, but he's an important guy. He's a good guy. Alright. I guess to segue into the next topic, to be a little blunt, I don't know why the media hates Andrew Yang so much. It's very strange to me. I mean, maybe it's because he's an outsider, and the media is always kind of like, hey, you're an outsider, you don't belong here, get out, But, I mean, they claim that he's a leftist. There was this recent goon on CNBC, fucking Morning, the guy that hosts Morning Joe. And this fucking guy, he basically is like, well, he was looking at the New York City mayor polls and saw that Andrew Yang was polling high. And he was like, man, he's talking to his dipshit host. He's like, oh yeah, you or me could fucking run New York City better than Andrew Yang. And they're just shitting on him. It was the snarkiest thing I have ever seen in my life. The snarkiest interview I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, dude, no, Morning Joe. You would not be able to be a better mayor than Andrew Yang. No. I mean, what? Oh, his fucking UBI payments that he wants to give out to New Yorkers. Or his fucking student loan forgiveness. oh, that's going to destroy New York. That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying. You have to look up the clip on CNN or I guess CNBC. Yeah, these people, they just say, hey, he's an outsider. He didn't come in to become a president the normal way. You have to have money, buy all this, fucking advertisements from the fucking CNN or from fucking Fox or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's why they hate him. They see him as an outsider. It's like you and your fringe ideas. Go away. It's going to destroy New York City. That's bullshit. AOC relaunched the Green New Deal today, which is actually really cool. She launched the Green New Deal 2 years ago in early 2019. Actually, when was it? February of 2019 is when she originally launched the Green New Deal. And her, Senator Ron Wyden and Senator Ed Markey and other correspondents launched it April 23rd, 2021. And it's kind of cool because it's 2 years, kind of a little bit after, couple months after the 2-year anniversary of it. And, it's good because it's getting people talking about the important issue again, climate change. And a lot of funny things have happened. AOC said that she has over 60 correspondents signing on to the bill, agreeing to say yes to it, which is amazing. And there's probably more than that. The only thing that's bad, though, the only thing that can give fuel to the fire for the Republicans is that she didn't put a price tag on it, which I think she did for the 2019 one. Maybe not. I don't quite remember. But I do know that in an interview with Vox, she did say, or no, it was The Hill. Sorry, The Hill. She did say that it would roughly estimated cost be around $10 trillion to do the Green New Deal. That's what she said in the interview. And for measure, the estimates for the Iraq War are $2 trillion. But I mean, it's probably is much more than that. And the Green New Deal invests in infrastructure, and that's an investment that's much more important than any other thing that the government can do. I mean, we're talking about roads, making jobs for clean energy, union jobs, 20,000 jobs they wanted to add or something like that. It's got to be more than that. 20,000. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch their speech. You can watch your speech yourself on C-SPAN. But they are supposed to be creating jobs. And I support AOC, and I support the Green New Deal. It's progressive. Some of you may or may not know. But yeah, the only thing that sucks is that's going to be the number one talking point from now on from all of these Republicans. It's going to be the price tag of this, And then, just as a closing point, I'll just say this. AOC would totally destroy MTG in a debate. She's going on Twitter saying all this shit about she said some shit oh, I read your 14 long Green New Deal fucking rough page or whatever. And she called it a communist manifesto and challenged her to a debate on Twitter. And she's been doing this for a couple of days now. This congresswoman, this QAnon conspiracy theorist congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm pretty sure that's her middle name. Yeah, she's basically psycho. One of the worst politicians in office right now for sure. Fucking to said some terrible things about the Parkland kids, called it a hoax. You know, one of those people, conspiracy theorist. I think she was the one that was in the Capitol wearing like the mask that said, "Oh, this mask is like, you know, like fucking breaking my free speech," or like some shit like that. I don't fucking know. But yeah, AOC would destroy her in a debate, hands down. Okay. One thing that I don't understand is the Matt Gaetz thing. Why are people not more mad about Matt Gaetz? I don't know. I mean, there are all types of comedians, myself included, that like know a lot of jokes about like Epstein and, you know, Bush 9/11, Clinton and Hillary eat babies, Joe Biden, Obama. They all fucking have like these islands across the world, which is probably true. I mean, for at least like some of them. I mean, who knows? Trump too. You know what I'm talking about, the jokes. And this fucking guy, Matt Gaetz, is being investigated for what was it? Sexual harassment or something like that, and sex trafficking. And he's not really being held accountable by the GOP. In some ways, he is, but they need to be more accountable for him. I mean, the GOP created Matt Gaetz. I mean, Trump, all the Trumpers. Well, I mean, Matt Gaetz created himself by sucking up to Trump, obviously, like every other Republican right now. But I mean, it still stands. I mean, he's a creepy guy. He's always been creepy. He's always been this type of griftery type, you know. I mean, he'll sit there and explain things to you with no emotion. And the things he does get emotion about are like the dumbest fucking things, like cancel culture and all this shit. And he was the only congressman to not vote for the human trafficking bill. And he's currently being investigated by the FBI. Like, why aren't there more like jokes about that? I don't know. It just seems weird. Maybe there are, but I just haven't seen a lot of content like that. I mean, you know, there's SNL and shit, but, you know, and I guess the whole like comparing him to like Jeffrey Epstein pedophile ring thing is kind of like, you know, those are old memes, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But I don't know. I think it's funny nonetheless. I mean, yeah. Yeah, and then like 2 days ago, he released a creepy ass video of him thanking his supporters for defending him for these last few weeks. Like he's still fighting to stay a congressman and stay in there. And there might be some, I mean, who knows? There might be some sketchy fucking shit where like he's really into sex trafficking and, you know, I mean, who knows where it's going to go. But I'm definitely going to talk about this story more, for sure. Definitely going to keep a close eye on it. Okay, can I just say this? Cancel culture is not real. You snowflakes. Seriously. That's what I genuinely believe. I mean, let's talk about it. The American right wing in this country has run out of ideas. They can't win on policy. They can't win on healthcare because their healthcare plans are unpopular. Their economic plans are not popular. Their social ideas are horrendous and from the 19th century. Science deniers. They ignore COVID. They're wrong on COVID. They can't win with American votes, so they have to resort to restricting voting and gerrymandering. Republicans have nothing left but to make themselves victims, to justify their own existence. Republicans' version of cancel culture just doesn't exist. Maybe canceling exists, like that concept. But, I mean, basing a policy issue on something that's barely a problem is stupid and fits the Republican Party like a glove. Cancel culture is the Republicans' perfect excuse to attack companies, corporations, news sources, and social media accounts. I mean, cancel culture just isn't real. I mean, just look at what happens recently with Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss. Mr. Potato Head is still available to buy. Dr. Seuss's books are still available to buy. So how's that? How are they canceled in like any way? I mean, they weren't stopped from being made, so by definition, weren't canceled. But that's just how the right talks about it. Cancel culture got these things. It doesn't really make any sense when you think about it. Speech is a great thing. Freedom of speech is a great thing. But freedom from consequence is a subject that the right doesn't like to talk about because, well, it's ironic because, you know, most Republicans are capitalists and they believe in free market ideas and values. And, you know, whenever we try and talk about the free market place of ideas, they want to restrict that. And it's like, I don't understand what their end game is. But, I mean, okay. Cancel culture is the right wing's boogeyman. These people will say stupid shit, like the guys on Fox News. They have a headline that's like, cancel culture comes for the Muppet Show. Because they have, like, a headline before the Muppet Show that says, this was made in a different time, it was made in the past, a different era, and there might be some sensitive racial material here. But the headline will literally read, cancel culture comes for the Muppet Show. But how is it canceled? You can still watch it on Disney. It just has that disclaimer. It's not edited or changed at all. Oh no, cancel culture got the fucking Muppets, but I can still watch it unedited, just like how it was years ago. The fucking disclaimer, god damn it, it ruins everything. You guys remember Andrew Cuomo? Or as my favorite comedian Tim Dillon likes to call him, Meatball. That's a good name for him. I guess that might be kind of racist since he's Italian. Whatever. I apologize to all Italian immigrants that might be watching this. Which I guess is like every American ever. Yeah, whatever. But if you remember, what did he do? What did Andrew Cuomo do? He blamed cancel culture for his sexual harassment allegations. And he blamed fucking cancel culture for that shit. And he blamed everyone wanting him to resign because of cancel culture too. And it's like, what are we doing out here? You know? I just hate that everyone talks about cancel culture so much, and it's really like not cancel culture that's influencing a lot of these things, but money, obviously. Like the lady that got fired from The Mandalorian. You know, she posted something on Twitter about like how like the Jews, like the conservatives are being like treated worse than the Jews or something like that. And a lot of people, I guess, you know, consider that anti-Jewish. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that nonsense that much, but I know it was something to that regard. Maybe there was more that she posted that was anti-Semitic that I didn't, or people thought was anti-Semitic. But anyways, I mean, she got fired by Disney because of money. Because they knew that wouldn't look good. And like people can spark off of that and come for Disney eventually. So they made that decision based on money to fire her. It wasn't cancel culture. It's not like there was like a bunch of Jews in Disney that were so offended by what she said and got rid of her just because of that. I mean, what these right-wingers talk about it's insane. Everything that they say is a stretch a mile long. But I guess that was my little rant about cancel culture. I know that there's not a lot of people that would rant about something like that, but yeah, that's just my honest opinion. And I'm definitely going to talk about this subject in the future. And I'm sure that there'll be some hard cases that anybody could show before me where it's like, okay, well, this wasn't right, and that's fine. I mean, I could see that stuff and I could make a decision. Yeah, maybe that wasn't right, maybe that wasn't wrong. I mean, but, that's how life works. Like I said, it seems really dumb to base a whole bunch of policy decisions on something that's not a big deal. It doesn't affect anybody's life. I mean, it's not like these people that are getting canceled have their careers, like, totally ruined. Like, totally. I mean, look at Mel Gibson. He's one of those people that you think of, oh, got canceled, He did a movie in, like, fucking 2018 or 19, fucking Daddy's Home 2. And he's been in some other movies in 2019. I mean, he's still working. Ellen DeGeneres. She, like, fucking tortured her fucking interns. Like, literally. No, it's not true. And she has a fucking show on HBO Max where she's judging people that make furniture. And that's great. So she's going to be working with a bunch of people that are great with hand saws and chainsaws that are good with, basic, like, equipment that would be very good for, torturing a human being. So that's great. That's fantastic. Let's give her more weapons of mass destruction to torture the staff with. They're going to have a whole ass documentary on this bitch, like fucking miles long, of all the shit that she's done when she dies. Not in a positive light. Those are all just jokes. I know that she doesn't actually fucking torture people. As far as I know. Fuck it. Alright. Well, that me little rant talking about Ellen DeGeneres torturing people. Seems like a good way to end off the podcast. This is a super short one. Hopefully the fourth one, I'll definitely have at least one other guest. Or maybe it'll be myself again. We'll figure it out. But thank you for watching very much, guys. I don't know, do whatever you want. Yeah. The end of Raph's podcast, episode 3. Alright. And outro. Salute.